Hello. So today under chapter heat transfer mechanism we are going to see Carnot's refrigerator. So hello friends, today we are going to see the topic refrigerator. So see, we already saw the topic heat engine, in which the system was taking heat Q1 from hot reservoir which is at temperature T1, and some part of that heat was converted into work done, and some amount of heat was rejected to the cold reservoir which is at temperature T2. Now here we know that heat is transferred from hot reservoir to cold reservoir, but when we talk about refrigerator, so here it is, heat is transferred from lower temperature to higher temperature with the help of external work done. Now in this case, the cold reservoir which is at lower temperature T2, here it is a hot reservoir which is at higher temperature T1. The heat will be extracted from cold reservoir using the system, and then that heat will be transferred to hot reservoir through working substance, and for that external work is to be done. So externally we need to do the work, or energy is required for doing that work. Then it is possible that the heat can be extracted from cold reservoir at temperature T2 and can be transferred to hot reservoir at temperature T1. So let us consider that principle of refrigeration. See, in heat engine cycle we saw that heat is transferred to sink from the source, where source is at higher temperature and sink is at lower temperature in case of heat engine. Now in refrigerator, cycle is performed opposite to that of the heat engine. Means we can say that a device that performs the cycle in opposite direction that of the heat engine is called as a refrigerator. So remember that refrigerator is nothing but a device that performs exactly opposite cycle as in case of heat engine. So for this we need a system that is a working substance, and for transferring heat from lower temperature to higher temperature, the system working substance undergoing this cycle is called as refrigerant. So this is a refrigerant which works as a working substance. Now let us talk about the coefficient of performance. So remember that if this is the cold reservoir, this is hot reservoir, and now we are extracting heat from cold reservoir and we are giving heat to hot reservoir with the help of system, and we need to perform external work done. So here when this is happening, so amount of heat extracted from cold reservoir which is at temperature T2, so that amount of heat, whatever it is taken, so that is amount of heat extracted from cold reservoir. So in order to extract that heat and transfer to the hot reservoir, we need to do some work, and so the coefficient of performance of the refrigerator is given by heat extracted from cold reservoir divided by work done on the system. So here the output of refrigerator is heat extracted from the cold reservoir and input is external work done on the system. So with the help of external work done, we can extract the heat from cold reservoir and transfer it to hot reservoir. So now we are considering the heat extracted from cold reservoir, that is heat absorbed, is Q2 which is at temperature T2, and the net work done which we have done here in order to extract heat, that is, let us consider W. So ratio of this will give us the coefficient of performance. And remember that the work done externally, it is done with the help of electric motor in a refrigerator. So now coefficient of performance, as we saw, that is beta is equal to Q2 upon W, where W is work done. So let Q1 be the heat rejected to the hot reservoir. Let us consider the heat absorbed is Q2 and heat rejected to hot reservoir, that is AQ1. So as original state is restored in refrigeration cycle, there is no change in internal energy of the system. Considering these things, we have then total work done is difference of Q1 and Q2, that is Q1 minus Q2. But we know coefficient of performance beta is equal to Q2 upon W. So that is equal to Q2 upon this W, that is Q1 minus Q2. So here it is a coefficient of performance in terms of the heat Q1 and Q2. This expression is there. Now this definition of coefficient of performance applies to any kind of refrigerator, so that you remember. So we'll talk about Carnot's concept of refrigerator, that is Carnot cycle is perfectly reversible, that we are considering, and it can be worked as heat engine as well as a refrigerator. So now in case of heat engine, we know heat is absorbed from source which is at higher temperature, and heat is rejected to the sink which is at lower temperature, and work is done by the working substance. But in case of refrigerator, the concept is heat is absorbed from sink which is at lower temperature, and the remaining heat is rejected to the source. Now here the work is done on the working substance. So here you can see that cold reservoir, in case of heat engine, this is hot reservoir, amount Q1 is absorbed by the system, and then Q2 is rejected to the cold reservoir, and difference of Q1 and Q2 is converted into work. So work is done by the system. But now here heat is absorbed from cold reservoir which is at temperature T2, and now in order to absorb the heat from cold reservoir and reject it to hot reservoir, we need to do some external work with the electric motor. We are doing that using electrical energy. So work is to be done on the system so that heat energy can be absorbed from lower temperature reservoir and can be given to hot temperature reservoir. So as we know that coefficient of performance beta is equal to Q2 upon W, that is Q2 upon Q1 minus Q2. So therefore we can write beta is equal to 1 upon Q1 upon Q2 minus 1. Now here, but for Carnot cycle we know that Q1 upon Q2 is exactly equal to T1 upon T2. So we can put this value T1 upon T2 here, and then we get another relation, that is beta is equal to 1 upon T1 upon T2 minus 1, or beta is equal to T2 upon T1 minus T2. So that is relation B. So here we can say that coefficient of performance beta can be written in terms of the temperature. Now the effectiveness of refrigerator is also called as a coefficient of performance. So coefficient of performance is also termed as a effectiveness of refrigerator. So note that effectiveness will be greater than 1. It is possible only when if the absolute temperature of cold reservoir is warmer than that of the hot reservoir. So remember that we have T1 having the temperature of hot reservoir and T2 is the temperature of cold reservoir. So if this T2 is greater than at least half of the T1, so let us consider that, suppose let us consider T1 as temperature 10, then the temperature of cold reservoir must be greater than half of this, so that we can get the coefficient of performance that is equal to 1 or greater than that, if the value is greater than half. So now from this we can understand refrigeration to extremely cold temperature is very difficult, because of, in order to get the performance, we need to satisfy this condition, and that is extremely difficult for the cold temperature. There is another concept, that is a workless refrigerator. So remember, the word workless is there. So now we know that naturally the heat is transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature. But in refrigerator, a reverse thing is happening, that heat is being transferred from lower temperature to higher temperature. But for that we need to do external work. Now, if no external work needed in order to transfer the heat from lower to higher temperature, the coefficient of performance is infinite. And such a device is called as workless refrigerator, because coefficient of performance beta is equal to Q2 upon W. But in order to transfer heat from lower temperature to higher temperature, this is just a concept. So no work is needed, that means W is equal to 0, and obviously beta is equal to infinite. Now, the working substance is most important part in a refrigeration. So that is called as a refrigerant. So in order to select a proper refrigerant, efficient refrigerant, we have some conditions for good refrigerant. So first important thing, that the refrigerant saturated pressure at the evaporator should be above the atmospheric pressure. So that is important thing, that saturated pressure of the refrigerant must be at the evaporator should be above atmospheric pressure. That is first condition. Second, the heat of vaporization should be high. That means the amount of heat it should be vaporized. For vaporization, it should need large amount of heat, so that it will not get easily vaporized, and it will be able to absorb large amount of heat. So that is second condition. So obviously, higher the heat of vaporization, the greater the refrigerant effect per kg. So now, for good refrigerator, our main aim is that we should use a very small quantity of refrigerant, which will create us a desired result. And in order to get more effect per kg, this condition is most important, that is heat of vaporization should be high. Third is the specific heat of refrigerant should be low. So we know that specific heat is related to amount of heat required to raise the temperature of substance through 1 degree Celsius. So that should be low. That is another condition. And fourth one is the specific volume of the refrigerant should be low to minimize the work required per kg of refrigerant circulated. So specific volume means it is a ratio of volume of the refrigerant to the mass of refrigerant. So that is basically specific volume, and it should be low so that the amount required per kg of refrigerant will be less. Now, desirable characteristics of the refrigerant: it should be non-inflammable. Second thing, it must be chemically stable, and it should have a low cost in order to get the refrigeration in low cost. So now let us consider simple structure of vapor compression refrigerator. So we are going to see how exactly the vapor compression refrigerator works. So before studying all these things, assumptions of ideal vapor compression cycles are: first, whenever we are studying, irreversibilities within the evaporator, condenser and compressor are ignored. That is first thing. These are the parts of refrigerator which we are going to see soon. So these irreversibilities are ignored. Second, no frictional pressure drops. So during mechanical friction, there is no pressure drop is considered. Second, third is refrigerant flows at constant pressure through two heat exchangers, that is evaporator and condenser. So we are going to see what are the role of evaporator and condenser and what is the relation of constant pressure with them. Then heat losses to the surroundings are ignored. We are considering that no heat is lost to the surrounding. And second, compression process is isoentropic. So these are the assumptions while considering the study of vapor compression cycle. So here the diagram shows schematic diagram of vapor compression refrigerator. Now we are going to see how the refrigeration is taking place. So here this diagram shows that there are several parts, that is say C1, C or evaporator E, throttling and so on. What are that? First, C1 is electrically driven compressor. So that means the gas enters this compressor, and when piston moves inside, the pressure is increased. So remember that it has two valves, A and B. Arrow shows that this is inlet valve in which the gas which is used, say ammonia, is entered the compressor through this valve B and it goes out through this valve A. And when valve A and B both are closed and piston moves inside, the pressure of the gas is increased. So with A is inlet valve and B outlet valve. C, third one is a condenser. So see, this is a condenser. So when the gas moves and comes in a condenser, the condensation is done in condenser C. So that is what a condenser. Thereafter, T is a throttling valve and E is evaporator, and as usual hot reservoir is this which is at temperature T1 and cold reservoir is this which is at temperature T2. So now remember that the gas ammonia is used as a working substance in this refrigerator. So let us see. Let us consider the gas enters in the compressor. So when it enters the compressor, the valve B and A are suppose closed and the piston moves inside. So obviously pressure of the gas is increased, which is P1, and due to compression corresponding temperature also increases. It is increased up to T1. So remember hot reservoir is at T1. So once the pressure is increased and temperature is attained to T1, the gas is released from the valve A in upward direction towards condenser. Okay, so now here the compressed gas at pressure P1 and temperature T1 enters the condenser. Here the water cooling or air cooling system is there, and due to that the heat is extracted from the gas and heat is rejected, that is amount of Q1, and its temperature decreases. As temperature decreases but pressure is constant, so heat is rejected and the gas passes through this throttling valve. So here in case of throttling valve, here according to Joule-Thomson effect, that gas is passing from higher pressure to lower pressure, its temperature decreases. So here volume pressure, so remember where it undergoes a Joule expansion to lower constant volume pressure under adiabatic condition, that means no heat is given or no heat is taken. So in under adiabatic condition this process is taking place. Then this low pressure, low temperature liquid is passed through evaporator. So this is the evaporator, and now the liquid passes through the coil C4 into evaporator chamber E. Now the evaporator chamber consists of the brine solution. Now here it is, into the evaporator the liquid is completely vaporized. Now this liquid is converted into gases. It is completely vaporized. This is again a phase change, that liquid is turned into gas. And during this process, converting liquid into gas, the heat of vaporization is extracted from the cold reservoir, and that is why the heat is transferred from this cold reservoir to the gas, and liquid to gas conversion is there taking place. Now these gas vapors at low pressure again enters this compressor. Again it is compressed, and the same way cycle is repeated. So once it is compressed, its pressure increases to P1, temperature increases to T1. Then it enters condenser, where water cooling system extracts heat, and temperature is decreased and pressure is maintained. That liquid gas passes to this, again throttling taking place. Due to Joule-Thomson effect, temperature is decreased. Okay, the process is adiabatic, and then that gas, when passes through this coil, the liquid, there it is a brine solution, and now the liquid is turned into gas. So this phase amount of heat required for this change is taken from cold reservoir, and the temperature of cold reservoir decreases, and now this low pressure gas again enters compressor. So this process is continuously going on, and this way this refrigerator works. Now here cold reservoir, say when we talk about domestic refrigerator, this is kept directly inside the chamber in which, or we can say ice compartment, this is kept, so that the large amount of heat is extracted and the temperature is lowered. Now here in refrigerator, the refrigerant, that is a working fluid, undergoes a phase change. As we saw here, it is liquid turns into gas, again due to pressure gas turns into liquid, and so on. So here it is, it undergoes a phase change, and during the heat transfer process in condenser, and evaporator, both, the pressure of refrigerant will be saturation pressure during the heat absorption or heat rejection. So that is important. So it is very important, the choice of refrigerant depends upon certain criteria in order to fulfill them. So that is why it should have a large latent heat of evaporation. Remember that latent heat is nothing but when liquid is converted into gas form or gas is converted into liquid form. So either heat absorption or heat rejection is there at constant temperature. That means phase is changing but temperature is not changing. That amount of heat absorbed or rejected during this kind of things, that is called as a latent heat. So it should have a large latent heat of evaporation, and vapor should have a small specific volume. So again, it should have sufficient vapor pressure, and it should be liquefied easily when it is compressed and cooled, and it should be chemically inactive with machineries and non-explosives. So these are again the conditions in order to get a good refrigeration system. So this is all about refrigerator.